This is 2026. We are founders. Most of us are heavily involved in our brands, and customers are connecting with us as a founder and connecting with our products in their life. They can choose to shop and spend their money in many places, but how are you reaching out to your customer base to connect with them, to encourage them to shop and spend their money with you? And then you find results. If you do tests and you come with a winner and an outcome, then record that somewhere so it helps you keep that in the back of your mind as a brand identity, a brand voice, a tone of voice, a connection, avenues and ways that you can feel more confident are worth your time, because you know that they'll yield better results in connecting with your customer base. Hey, welcome to Aussie Online Growing on Shopify. This is episode 163. I want to share with you today about doing some A/B testing in your Klaviyo account, doing some different types of A/B testing for some campaigns. So whatever your next upcoming campaign or newsletter you might have planned to send to your Engage segment inside Klaviyo, I want to encourage you to do an A/B test if you haven't done one in a long time, or maybe ever. There's so many features inside Klaviyo, it can be so easy just to roll with what we usually do. But let's do a bit of an A/B test if you haven't done one in a while. And there are so many different parameters you can do in a test. I want to share with you the results of a test I did in my own account last week. I did an A/B test on click rate. I wanted to see if a certain type of email as an experiment got me a better click rate or a worse click rate. And I also want to share with you, I'm going to do the same thing in my clients' accounts this month and probably the first week of March. So the clients I support with their Klaviyo email marketing, I'm going to do an identical test in their accounts as well, and then update their brand kit. So when you do any type of testing inside Klaviyo, I encourage you to keep those results somewhere pretty central, like a brand kit, somewhere that you can go to every time you go to send a campaign or update your flows. Any work you do inside your Klaviyo account to increase the revenue you're getting from Klaviyo to help boost your overall Shopify e-commerce store revenue, keep those results from A/B tests somewhere in a brand kit of some description that you can open every time you go to build a campaign to send. So you remember kind of the best practices that relate to your specific business. Testing is so important because this is not a black and white exercise. That's why we do experiments and tests. The results I had for my email campaign I sent last week, and I did an A/B test based on click rate. I wanted to see the winner of my test for which email got the best click-through rate. Then those things are specific for my business and may not translate to your business or my clients' businesses, which is why doing tests is so important. So let's experiment in Klaviyo this week or this month, depending how many emails you've already sent or what your next upcoming email is that you have planned for your e-commerce store. Go ahead and do a test of some description. The outcome and the lesson for me with this email test that I did was that long emails often win over short emails. That was the test I wanted to do, because how much do you hear? And I talk about it too. This is the world of social media we live in. We can, if we're not careful, we can take all of the cliches and experiences and expertise of what social media land looks like. And then we can kind of take that and just layer it over every other part of our business. And in this case, I didn't want to do that with my email. I thought short emails are always good. I always advocate a short email, and I mostly advocate short emails because I want you to feel empowered to send an email. I know most of you are stuck at just not having the time to send an email. So if you're going to send something, make it short if that helps you with finding the time and the energy to actually send emails, then make them short emails. But that's not a hard and fast rule, and it's not a blanket statement, and it's not how we should look at the lens of all parts of our business. Because social media is such a clickbaity, 3-second hook, short, sharp, shiny, keep people's attention span, stop the scroll world and ecosystem, let's not layer that sort of thinking over all parts of our business. Let's do some tests. And so I wanted to do a test in a campaign I sent last week on the length of the email. I thought, let's do a really long email like lengthy storytelling. It had lots of images, lots of copy, couple of headlines. It was warm. It was just long. It was probably one of the longer emails I have ever sent. I deliberately made it super long for the sake of this test. And then the second email, the B variation, was kind of what I would normally send, but even shorter than. It had to be different. If you're going to do any sort of experiment, they need to be markedly different. Then it was a very short email. It was probably a quarter of the length of the first email. Surprisingly to me, but when you think about it with a customer perspective head on, not really surprising, is the click-through rate on my long email was better by 30%. And the revenue attributed to the email campaign overall only came from the longer email. And I found that so interesting. I've made a note of that for myself for my e-commerce store to keep that in mind when I do emails. There are absolutely times when short emails are appropriate. Remember, this is not black and white. I'm not talking about black and white conclusions here. This is nuanced and it's flexible and it's organic and real. Like, these are real people who are receiving real emails. And I can imagine when I think about that with my customer hat on, if you're going to take the time to open an email from your favorite brand, to do maybe a bit of scrolling, you're passing time at work, or you're sitting on your phone on the couch at nighttime, I want to see interesting things. So I'll scroll an email for a little while. I want to see nice pictures, beautiful products, a cute, like something nice from the founder to reach out to me. That might encourage me to head over and browse and shop. And when you think about it in that sense, it comes across as a less of a hard sell being a longer email because it's warmer, it's friendlier. Even if you have more products in, it's less of a hard sell because it feels less demanding when it's long. I believe this is my analysis of my own results in my e-commerce store from this test. So I just encourage you to do a test of your own. You could do it on open rate, you could do it on click rate or revenue. You can choose so many different parameters. I did click rate because I was interested to see what encouraged people to click through. I wanted to see the winner as far as if the email was long or short, what made them click through? What got them to click through to the website? Was it a short email or was it a long email? And surprisingly, but then if I think about it, why the result was the way it was, maybe not so surprisingly, was the longer email, the warmer email, more copy, more images, more products, something nice to scroll through, a bit like you would browse your favorite store or a magazine. Maybe it's more relaxing a long email. It's less demanding, punchy to the point, because you're kind of the person's taken the time to open the email. They've decided to give you a few seconds or a few minutes of their life. They want to be entertained and they want to connect and they want to be enticed maybe to shop and to browse. And that's what it did, because any revenue from that email was only attributed to the longer version in the A/B test, and there wasn't any revenue attributed to the shorter version in the A/B test. Super interesting. I really wanted to share it on an episode today and to share with you as well. This is what I'm doing with my clients for February. And the first week of March is I'll do a similar test for them. I want to do a test on a long email versus a short email based on click-through rate as the metric we are looking for success, either short or long. And then I'm going to record those details in their brand kit. Because any of these things that you do, there are so many types of tests you can do. I'm going to give you some ideas. Please make sure you record the outcome somewhere and then, of course, revisit it. It doesn't mean every email I send will be long. Again, but it is giving me more of a better, fuller, rounder picture of my brand and my customers and what they want to see from me. So take that for yourself. Any tests that you do in Klaviyo on the many metrics you can test, then whatever the results and the outcome happen to be, take that as learnings for yourself on what it is your customers want to hear from you about, like to hear from you about, and connect with you more easily on. Because that's how we grow our business. This is 2026. We are founders. Most of us are heavily involved in our brands, and customers are connecting with us as a founder and connecting with our products in their life. They can choose to shop and spend their money in many places, but how are you reaching out to your customer base to connect with them, to encourage them to shop and spend their money with you? and then you find results. If you do tests and you come with a winner and an outcome, then record that somewhere so it helps you keep that in the back of your mind as a brand identity, a brand voice, a tone of voice, a connection, a brand pillar. There's so many sort of different marketing terms, but basically all of that to say avenues and ways that you can feel more confident are worth your time, because you know that they'll yield better results in connecting with your customer base. Better results being the revenue. The better result for me was a 30% higher click-through rate on the longer email, and the only revenue I got attributed to the campaign as a whole was attributed to the longer email. So that was definitive for me, and I was pretty cool, excited to hear that, but it means I need to spend more time on investing my energy in the email. So like I said at the start, if you are struggling to even send emails, just send them. Like, if they're short or long, honestly, it doesn't matter. Just get them out there, because it's better for your deliverability score to be sending regular emails to a regular engaged segment. That will keep your segment healthy, and it will keep your domain healthy. Super crucial now, more than ever, is the health of your domain, which is, you can see that in your deliverability score. So please just send emails. If you're listening to this and you're like, well, I haven't got time to write a long email today, so I just won't send one. No, just send a short text only email. Don't add any images. Make it from you, the founder, to say, hello, I hope you're having a lovely day. I don't know, check this out. It's new on the website, or I've got some new stuff arriving. I hope you're excited. Let me know what you like to see from me next. Do some very short text email that take you 10 minutes to do, rather than sending nothing. That's not the outcome I want you to come from this episode with. But I do want you to do some tests in your Klaviyo account. And these are some of the tests. Like I said, I'm going to do this exact test of measuring a long email versus short email, with the winning outcome being the click-through rate. I'm doing that for my clients with their next email I have scheduled. When clients work with me, I look after flows for them and standalone campaigns and report back on metrics every month. This is a test I'm going to do for all of them in the upcoming week, in the upcoming couple of weeks. Hey, what's the very next step in growing online for your e-commerce store? If you're on Shopify, if you have Klaviyo, if you have Meta Ads, or you need to leverage any of those platforms, I work on a project by project basis. So there's no crazy long retainer you need to worry about signing up for. If you work with me one-on-one for just 1 month, I can get you some emails sorted. Let's get your segments built in Klaviyo properly. Improve your deliverability score. Let's get you some revenue. You can actually see the metrics, see the revenue coming through. In 2025, email marketing made up 22% of my total revenue across the year, which was actually an increase of 80% on the year before. So I'm in a great position to support you as a small e-commerce store owner. If you are brand new to e-commerce, maybe you want to be DIYing these solutions for yourself. You want to jump into ads and build some ads, some audiences, some targeting yourself, get your Advantage Plus shopping campaign set up and all your creative firing. Please do so and listen to all my previous podcast episodes. There's no gatekeeping here. You can take all the information you want. Everything I share is results I see in my own ad account and my clients' ads accounts as well. It's experience from what is happening now in e-commerce, because yes, I am still an e-commerce store owner. I'm still in the trenches with you guys. Please find me at Aussie Online, growing on shopify.com.au. Book yourself a call. Let's chat. You won't regret it. And let's work together for a month and see where you want to go from there. Now, back to the episode. Let me give you a couple of ideas of things that you could test. It's a bit of a bank of things that you can use to test on. And these are not the metrics. These are not, you can get the result on click-through rate, open rate, revenue. That's not what you're looking for here. You can do all of those and one of those and pick one. But try some of these things when you build your variations and see what outcome you get. Like I just said, plain text versus designed. So a heavily designed email with lots of images and maybe a GIF and some stuff going on. It's stimulating to read and to look at. It grabs your attention. And then a plain text email would be the variation you want to test for that. Like I just shared something short, sharp, shiny, a couple of sentences, maybe your logo, but that's it. Nothing else. No images, no GIFs, no products, even just a block of text and your logo if you like, and that's all. So that would be a cool test to do. Long versus short. mentioned that one, done that one. I like this one, dynamic products versus static. Often, if you're talking about a product in an email, you should include the static product inside that email. At the same time, though, I also often like to fold in a separate part of the email a dynamic product catalog, so that anybody who receives this email and has recently looked at some other things on the website and browsed them will also get to see those things again in the same email. It just brings back to their attention something they have already shown an interest in. You need to build that product feed in Klaviyo. If you haven't built the product feed, you'll see it when you go to insert the product. It'll give you the option for dynamic and static, and you select dynamic and then you build a product feed on browsed, on purchased. You can choose different parameters, but if you choose what they have recently browsed, then that specific user will get an email curated especially for them based on the products they recently looked at. It's very powerful. And I use that dynamic product feed, how often? At least twice a month. It should be a staple part of what you insert into an email because it's just helpful. You're not being salesy at all. That is only including products in an email anywhere, even near the base if you want to, if you're a bit worried about adding it so often. It's including products that somebody has already shown interest in and looked at. So it's actually just helpful for them to see them again because they already liked it and checked it out. So you're just offering a great service by including that dynamic product feed often, because clients will just, customers will just see that and be, oh, I remember seeing that. Oh, there's the product again I saw. I really liked that. It's a helpful thing to do. So don't shy away from including that. You could also include a single call to action and lots of. Try 4 buttons, call to actions, and including some even hyperlink text. So some buttons, some hyperlinks text, some images with a link, lots of avenues for people to click versus one avenue for people to click, and see which outcome you get. I have no idea what the outcome. That's a bit of an interesting one to try, I think. I love this one, emojis versus no emojis. I struggle not to put an emoji in a subject line, and all my clients know this too for the emails I send for them. I love an emoji in a subject line. All the emails that grab my attention in my own inbox have an emoji in the subject line. But again, that's my customer sort of hat on of what I like to see in my inbox. So that's something I should absolutely do, is an emoji versus no emoji. I don't use emojis in every subject line, but I feel I feel the push to do so in every email, and then I stop myself because I know it's not ideal to do that all the time because not everybody wants to see emojis in their email subject lines. But try that, test that out, and see if you get a better maybe open rate based on emojis in the subject line or no emojis. And the last one is an urgency or calm. This is a little bit like the short versus long as well. You could say a similar thing. A really urgent call to action, like a bit FOMO pushing, and then a more calm call to action, even no call to action. Simply a community building, community driven email. If you are struggling with your deliverability score, if your deliverability score is falling, is in the poor range or the fair range, their range is you really want to be getting it out of those brackets, then you really should be doing community building emails because they are not salesy. People are less likely to mark them as spam, and they are more likely to be opened and engaged with because it's a genuinely nice email to receive from you as a business owner or as the brand, if you're not sending it from you, but from the brand. So if your deliverability score is suffering, I really encourage you to do some community building emails with just some nice things included that connect with your customers and with nothing else, like no call to action or a soft call to action, but genuinely service-driven community building emails. They are crucial if your deliverability score is suffering. Please make time for those in the next 8 weeks, and you'll see your deliverability and score increase for sure, especially if you lock your engaged segment down even further. So you're really only sending to very targeted users for the next 8 weeks, and most of those emails are community-driven, community-building emails. You will get your deliverability score back really quick. I'm confident you will. And oh yeah, there was one more I wanted to tell you as well, because I tend to build and send emails at the same time every week. I need to change that up to see the difference. And I sometimes send them in the evenings, but rarely send them in the evenings. An evening email for me is usually something I do on the fly and just decide to send. But I've never tested that for my clients. So I would like to test that for them, especially through March, is testing the email send time as AM versus PM. They're super brand specific, I feel, an AM versus PM email. And I haven't done a proper test for myself either. Like I said, I usually do AM for myself and my clients. I usually do as well. But I think it's worth testing, because that could be a significant difference in the number of opens, especially opens, I feel is a good metric to test on when you're sending and testing on the time of day to send an email. I think open is probably a good metric you want to land on. The winner for that. Is it better to send emails in the morning or in the evening? And that would be quite brand specific. Some brands, if your brand, like I can imagine getting to my office and sitting at my desk at 8:30 in the morning, I could be looking for an email to distract me for 5 minutes. If I'm really not interested in being at work that day, then an email in the morning is a nice thing to do. I would look for that in my inbox and be happy to open and pass the time for a minute or two before I get into work. And then maybe in the evening, similarly as well, maybe I'd love to receive some helpful tips on budgeting or meal planning in the evenings, things I might already be sitting and scrolling on social media about in the evenings. An email of a similar nature or a similar theme, I would like to receive and would be happy to open in the evenings. Kind of think that through for yourself with your own brand and put that customer hat on, what might make sense for your customer, and then test it and see what outcome you get. You might be surprised. You may always send your emails in the evening and find Monday morning the winner, and you normally send them on a Saturday night. So try it and see what you come up with. So all of this is just to test and try. That is the lesson from today. I encourage you to go and do some tests in your Klaviyo account. Don't take things for granted, and also don't take results as black and white either. Data is important. Data is data. I love data. It informs. It should inform many things that we do as a business owner. It certainly informs many things I do in ads and in email, but also take that as a layer of information for you to keep and to add to your brand kit as information and more learnings about your customer base and your customer personas to help you make, decisions for the next time you send campaigns or the next time you build a flow. So don't take it as gospel. Like I said, it's a test and an experiment. It was just one. It was only one email. You could argue the content of the email had something to do with it as well. There's all of these different qualifiers when it comes to data. Data is important, but data can also be made to show certain things and to tell a particular story. That's sort of like the world of politics, isn't it? I feel like, or budgets and budget estimates. It's like, depending how you use the data, what you say about it tells a different story. So do a test for fun. Hey, see what you come back with. I'd love to know. Send me an email. Let me know what your Klaviyo test was and how it landed in your e-commerce store. And was it surprising? Or was it what you expected to see? Both of those things are good. If it's surprising, it's good for us to change it up a bit. If it's what we expected anyway, it just gives us confidence in what we're doing, hey, when we're moving forward. So thanks for hanging out with me today at Aussie Online, growing on shopify.com.au. As always, keep learning.